I have done 30 plus certifications and am here to guide you throughout your certification journey. In this video, we will be covering some important questions of the Microsoft DP-100 exam. You can find the complete PDF of this video and our practice questions through the link down in the description. To the important questions. Question 1. You construct a machine learning experiment via Azure Machine Learning Studio. You would like to split data into two separate datasets. Which of the following actions should you take? Firstly, let's eliminate the incorrect options. We have B. You should make use of the group categorical values module. This module is used for grouping similar categorical values, not for splitting datasets. Then we have C. You should make use of the clip values module. This is used to limit numerical values within a specified range, not for dataset splitting. Then we have D. You should make use of the group data into bins module. This module is used for binning continuous data into discrete categories, not for separating datasets. As such, the action that you should take is that you should make use of the split data module. Thus, the correct option is A. The split data module in Azure Machine Learning Studio is specifically designed to divide datasets into separate subsets, commonly for training and testing purposes in machine learning experiments. It allows you to split data based on percentage, stratified sampling, or other criteria. Question 2. You have been tasked with creating a new Azure pipeline via the Machine Learning Designer. You have to make sure that the pipeline trains a model using data in a comma separated value file that is published on a website. A dataset for this file does not exist. Data from the CSV file must be ingested into the designer pipeline with the least amount of administrative effort as possible. Which of the following actions should you take? Firstly, let's eliminate the incorrect options. We have A. You should make use of the convert to text module. This is used to convert data formats but does not fetch data from external sources. Then we have B. You should add the copy data object to the pipeline. This is used in Azure Data Factory, not Azure Machine Learning Designer, and is meant for large scale data movement. Then we have D. You should add the dataset object to the pipeline. While datasets can be created in Azure ML, this question states that no dataset exists yet, making import data a better choice for direct ingestion. As such, the action that we should take is that you should add the import data object to the pipeline. Thus, the correct option is C. Both dataset and import data modules can do the job, but dataset module requires one to register the dataset first before using it in Designer, so violating the least admin efforts. Import data component is used to import data from data sources such as web URLs with minimum effort. Question 3. You need to consider the underlying segment to establish whether it is accurate. To transform a categorical feature into a binary indicator, you should make use of the clean missing data module. Select no adjustment required if the underlying segment is accurate. If the underlying segment is inaccurate, select the accurate option. Firstly, let's eliminate the incorrect options. We have A. No adjustment required. It is incorrect because the clean missing data module is used for handling missing values, not for encoding categorical variables. Then we have C. Apply SQL transformation. This is used for applying SQL based transformations to data, not for converting categorical features into binary indicators. Then we have D. Group categorical values. This module is used to merge similar categorical values but does not convert them into binary indicators. As such, the accurate option here is to convert to indicator values. Thus, the correct option is B. Use the Convert to Indicator Values module in Azure Machine Learning Studio. The purpose of this module is to convert columns that contain categorical values into a series of binary indicator columns that can more easily be used as features in a machine learning model. Question 4. You need to consider the following segment to establish whether it is accurate. To improve the amount of low incidence cases in a dataset, you should make use of the SMOT module. Select no adjustment required if the given segment is accurate. If the given segment is inaccurate, select the accurate option. Firstly, let's eliminate the incorrect options. We have B. Remove duplicate rows. This is used to eliminate duplicate entries, not to increase low incidence cases. Then we have C. Join data. This is used to merge datasets, not for balancing class distribution. Then we have D. Edit metadata. This modifies dataset properties like column names and data types, but does not affect class distribution. As such, the accurate option here is no adjustment required. Thus, the correct option is A. Use the SMOT module in Azure Machine Learning Studio to increase the number of underrepresented cases in a dataset used for machine learning. SMOT is a better way of increasing the number of rare cases than simply duplicating existing cases. Question 5. You are planning to host practical training to acquaint learners with data visualization creation using Python. Learner devices are able to connect to the internet. Learner devices are currently not configured for Python development. Also, learners are unable to install software on their devices as they lack administrator permissions. Furthermore, they are unable to access Azure subscriptions. It is imperative that learners are able to execute Python based data visualization code. Which of the following actions should you take? Firstly, let's eliminate the incorrect options. We have A. You should consider configuring the use of Azure Container Instance. It is used for running containerized applications but not ideal for interactive Python based learning. Then we have B. You should consider configuring the use of Azure Batch AI. It is designed for large scale AI and ML training, not for basic Python visualization training. Then we have D. You should consider configuring the use of Azure Kubernetes Service. It is used for managing containerized applications at scale, not for individual learners executing Python scripts. As such, the action that we should take is that you should consider configuring the use of Azure notebooks. Thus, the correct option is C. Azure Notebooks is a cloud-based Jupyter Notebook service that allows users to run Python code without needing to install Python or any additional software on their devices. Since learners lack administrator permission and cannot access Azure subscriptions, Azure Notebooks provides an accessible browser-based environment for executing Python-based data visualization code. Question 6. You have recently concluded the construction of a binary classification machine learning model. You are currently assessing the model. You want to make use of a visualization that allows for precision to be used as the measurement for the assessment. Which of the following actions should you take? Firstly, let's eliminate the incorrect options. We have A. You should consider using Venn diagram visualization. It is used for visualizing relationships between sets, not for precision based model evaluation. Then we have B. You should consider using a receiver operating characteristic curve visualization. It measures the trade off between sensitivity and specificity, but it does not directly focus on precision. Then we have C. You should consider using box plot visualization. It is used to display data distribution and variability, not for classification model assessment. As such, the action that we should take is that we should consider using the binary classification confusion matrix visualization. Thus, the correct option is D. Binary classification confusion matrix provides a detailed breakdown of model performance, including precision, recall, and accuracy. Precision is derived directly from the confusion matrix, making it the most suitable choice for assessing the model using precision as the key metric. Question 7. You want to train a classification model using data located in a CSV file. The classification model will be trained via the automated machine learning interface using the classification task type. You have been informed that only linear models need to be assessed by the automated machine learning. Which of the following actions should you take? Firstly, let's eliminate the incorrect options. We have B. You should enable automatic featureization. This is used to automatically transform raw data into features but does not restrict model selection to linear models. Then we have C. You should disable automatic featureization. This prevents Azure AutoML from transforming data automatically but does not limit model selection to linear models. Then we have D. You should set the task type to forecasting. Forecasting is used for time series prediction, not classification. As such, the action that we should take is we should disable deep learning. Thus, the correct option is A. Automated machine learning in Azure supports multiple model types, including deep learning models. Since the requirement is to assess only linear models, disabling deep learning ensures that only traditional linear classification models are considered during training. Question 8. You make use of Azure Machine Learning Studio to develop a linear regression model. You perform an experiment to assess various algorithms. Which of the following is an algorithm that reduces the variance between actual and predicted values? Firstly, let's eliminate the incorrect options. We have A. Fast forest quantile regression. It is used for estimating quantiles in nonlinear relationships, not specifically for reducing variance in linear regression. Then we have a B, Poisson regression. It is designed for modeling count-based data, not for minimizing variance in a regression problem. Then we have C, boosted decision tree regression. It uses ensemble learning to improve predictions but is more complex and not purely focused on reducing variance like linear regression. As such, the algorithm that reduces the variances between actual and predicted values is linear regression. Thus, the correct option is D. Linear regression is a fundamental algorithm used to model the relationship between dependent and independent variables by minimizing the variance between actual and predicted values using methods like ordinary least squares. It aims to find the best fitting line that reduces the difference between actual and predicted values. Question 9. You are in the process of constructing a deep convolutional neural network. The CNN will be used for image classification. You notice that the CNN model you constructed displays hints of overfitting. You want to make sure that overfitting is minimized and that the model is converged to an optimal fit. Which of the following is true with regards to achieving your goal? Firstly, let's eliminate the incorrect options. We have A. You have to add an additional dense layer with 512 input units and reduce the amount of training data. Adding an additional dense layer and reducing training data may increase overfitting instead of reducing it. More training data helps prevent overfitting. Then we have B. You have to add L1 slash L2 regularization and reduce the amount of training data. Adding L1 slash L2 regularization is correct, but reducing training data would worsen overfitting. Then we have C, you have to reduce the amount of training data and make use of training data augmentation. Reducing training data is counterproductive. Data augmentation helps, but removing data does not. Then we have E, you have to add an additional dense layer with 512 input units and add L1 slash L2 regularization. Adding an additional dense layer may increase overfitting instead of reducing it. Regularization is beneficial, but adding a layer is not necessary. As such, the option that is true with regards to achieving our goal is that you have to add L1 slash L2 regularization and make use of training data augmentation. Thus, the correct option is D. Overfitting in a CNN occurs when the model learns noise or details specific to the training data instead of generalizing well to new data. L1 slash L2 regularization helps prevent overfitting by penalizing large weights, thereby improving generalization. Training data augmentation artificially increases dataset diversity improving model robustness and reducing overfitting. Question 10. You are making use of the Azure Machine Learning Designer to construct an experiment. After dividing a dataset into training and testing sets, you configure the algorithm to be two-class boosted decision tree. You are preparing to ascertain the area under the curve. Which of the following is a sequential combination of the models required to achieve your goal? Firstly, let's eliminate the incorrect options. We have B, score, evaluate, train. The sequence is incorrect because training must be done before scoring or evaluation. Then we have C, evaluate, export data, train. Evaluation comes after training and scoring, and exporting data is unrelated to calculating AUC. Then we have D, train, score, export data. Exporting data is unnecessary for evaluating AUC and does not fit the required sequence. As such, the correct sequential combination of the models is train, score, evaluate. Thus, the correct option is A. Calculate the area under the curve for a model like the two-class boosted decision tree. The typical process is first train the model on the training dataset. Then we have score the model on the testing dataset to get predicted probabilities or class predictions. Then we have evaluate the model using metrics like AUC to assess performance. Question 11. You are developing a hands-on workshop to introduce Docker for Windows to attendees. You need to ensure that workshop attendees can install Docker on their devices. Which two prerequisite components should attendees install on the devices? Firstly, let's eliminate the incorrect options. We have A, Microsoft Hardware Assisted Virtualization Detection Tool. This tool is useful for detecting if your hardware supports virtualization, but it is not required for Docker installation. Then we have B, Kitematic. Kitematic is a GUI tool for Docker, but it is not a prerequisite for running Docker. Docker can be used via the command line. Then we have D, VirtualBox. Docker for Windows uses Hyper-V for virtualization, so VirtualBox is not necessary and may conflict with Docker on Windows. As such, the two prerequisite components that should be installed on the devices are BIOS-enabled virtualization and Windows 10 64-bit professional. Thus, the correct options are C and E. Make sure your Windows system supports hardware virtualization technology and that virtualization is enabled. Ensure that hardware virtualization support is turned on in the BIOS settings. To run Docker, your machine must have a 64-bit operating system running Windows 7 or higher. Question 12. You are implementing a machine learning model to predict stock prices. The model uses a PostgreSQL database and requires GPU processing. You need to create a virtual machine that is pre-configured with the required tools. What should you do? Firstly, let's eliminate the incorrect options. We have A, create a data science virtual machine Windows edition. While the DSVM is useful for machine learning tasks, it does not have the same GPU optimization and deep learning tools as the DLVM. Then we have B, create a GeoAI data science virtual machine Windows edition. This option is tailored for geospatial data science workloads, not specifically for deep learning or stock price prediction. Then we have D, create a deep learning virtual machine Windows edition. Windows edition of DLVM may not be as efficient for GPU processing in machine learning tasks as the Linux edition. As such, we should create a deep learning virtual machine Linux edition. Thus, the correct option is C. A deep learning virtual machine is a pre-configured virtual machine image optimized for deep learning workloads. The Linux edition of DLVM provides GPU support, which is essential for accelerating machine learning models like those used for stock price prediction. Additionally, it comes with tools such as TensorFlow, PyTorch, and other deep learning frameworks, along with GPU drivers for efficient processing. Question 13. You are developing deep learning models to analyze semi-structured, unstructured, and structured data types. You have the following data available for model building: video recordings of sporting events, transcript of radio commentary about events, logs from related social media feeds captured during sporting events. You need to select an environment for creating the model. Which environment should you use? Firstly, let's eliminate the incorrect options. We have B, Azure Data Lake Analytics. It is not optimized for deep learning or multimedia data analysis. Then we have C, Azure HD Insight with Spark MLib. It is better for structured data and batch processing, not real-time deep learning. Then we have D, Azure Machine Learning Studio. It lacks specialized tools for multimedia data processing compared to Azure Cognitive Services. As such, the environment that we should use is Azure Cognitive Services. Thus, the correct option is A. Azure Cognitive Services expand on Microsoft's evolving portfolio of machine learning APIs and enable developers to easily add cognitive features such as emotion and video detection, facial, speech and vision recognition, and speech and language understanding into their applications. The goal of Azure Cognitive Services is to help developers create applications that can see, hear, speak, understand, and even begin to reason. The catalog of services within Azure Cognitive Services can be categorized into five main pillars: vision, speech, language, search, and knowledge. Question 14. You must store data in Azure Blob Storage to support Azure Machine Learning. You need to transfer the data into Azure Blob Storage. What are three possible ways to achieve this goal? Firstly, let's eliminate the incorrect options. We have A, bulk insert SQL query. This is used for inserting data into SQL-based databases, not for transferring data into Azure Blob Storage. Then we have E, bulk copy program. BCP is used for bulk copying data into SQL Server databases, not for Azure Blob Storage. As such, the three possible ways to achieve the goal are AZ copy, Python script, and Azure Storage Explorer. Thus, the correct options are B, C, and D. You can move data to and from Azure Blob Storage using different technologies: Azure Storage Explorer, AZ Copy, Python, and SSIS. Question 15. You are moving a large dataset from Azure Machine Learning Studio to a Weka environment. You need to format the data for the Weka environment. Which module should you use? Firstly, let's eliminate the incorrect options. We have A, convert to CSV. While CSV is a common format, Weka specifically uses ARFF, not CSV, for data input. Then we have B, convert to dataset. This option does not align with the specific need to format data for Weka. Then we have D, convert to SVM-Lite. SVM-Lite is used for support vector machine datasets, not for Weka, which uses ARFF. As such, the module that we should use is convert to ARFF. Thus, the correct option is C. Use the Convert to ARFF module in Azure Machine Learning Studio to convert datasets and results in Azure Machine Learning to the attribute relation file format used by the Weka toolset. This format is known as ARFF. The ARFF data specification for Weka supports multiple machine learning tasks, including data preprocessing, classification, and feature selection. In this format, data is organized by entities and their attributes and is contained in a single text file. Question 16. You plan to use a DSVM with the open source deep learning frameworks Cafe2 and PyTorch. You need to select a pre-configured DSVM to support the frameworks. What should you create? Firstly, let's eliminate the incorrect options. We have A, DSVM for Windows 2012. It is not optimized for deep learning frameworks like Cafe2 and PyTorch. Then we have B, DSVM for Linux CentOS. It is less commonly used for deep learning compared to Ubuntu. Then we have C, GeoAI DSVM with ArcGIS. It is specialized for geospatial tasks, not deep learning. Then we have D, DSVM for Windows 2016. Windows is less ideal for deep learning, lacks deep learning framework support compared to Linux. As such, we should create a DSVM for Linux Ubuntu. Thus, the correct option is E. Traffic 2 and PyTorch is supported by DSVM for Linux. Microsoft offers Linux editions of the DSVM on Ubuntu 16.04 LTS and CentOS 7.4. Only the DSVM on Ubuntu is pre-configured for Caffe 2 and PyTorch. Question 17. You are solving a classification task. The dataset is imbalanced. You need to select an Azure Machine Learning Studio module to improve the classification accuracy. Which module should you use? Firstly, let's eliminate the incorrect options. We have A. Permutation feature importance. It is used for feature importance, not for handling class imbalance. Then we have B. Filter based feature selection. It focuses on feature selection, not addressing imbalance. Then we have C. Fisher linear discriminant analysis. It is used for dimensionality reduction, not for balancing classes. As such, the module that we should use is synthetic minority oversampling technique, or SMOTE. Thus, the correct option is D. Use the SMOTE module in Azure Machine Learning Studio to increase the number of underrepresented cases in a dataset used for machine learning. SMOTE is a better way of increasing the number of rare cases than simply duplicating existing cases. You connect the SMOTE module to a dataset that is imbalanced. There are many reasons why a dataset might be imbalanced. The category you are targeting might be very rare in the population, or the data might simply be difficult to collect. Typically, you use mode when the class you want to analyze is underrepresented. Question 18. You use Azure Machine Learning Studio to build a machine learning experiment. You need to divide data into two distinct datasets. Which module should you use? Firstly, let's eliminate the incorrect options. We have A. Assign data to clusters. This module is used for clustering data, not for partitioning datasets. Then we have B. Load trained model. This is used to load an existing model, not for splitting data. Then we have D. Tune model hyperparameters. This module is used for hyperparameter tuning, not for dividing datasets. As such, the module that we should use is partition and sample. Thus, the correct option is C. The partition and sample module in Azure Machine Learning Studio is used to split a dataset into multiple distinct subsets. This is commonly used for dividing data into training and testing sets or for any scenario requiring data partitioning. Question 19. You are creating a machine learning model. You have a dataset that contains null rows. You need to use the clean missing data module in Azure Machine Learning Studio to identify and resolve the null and missing data in the dataset. Which parameter should you use? Firstly, let's eliminate the incorrect options. We have A. Replace with mean. It replaces missing values with the mean value of the column, not removing rows. Then we have B. Remove entire column. It removes column with missing values, which may not be appropriate if only a few rows are affected. Then we have D. Hot deck. It fills missing values using similar instances in the dataset, not by removing rows. Then we have E. System substitution value. It replaces missing values with a user-defined value, not by removing rows. Then we have F. Replace with mode. It replaces missing values with the most frequent value, not removing rows. As such, the parameter that we should use is C. Remove entire row. Thus, the correct option is C. Remove entire row. Completely removes any row in the dataset that has one or more missing values. This is useful if the missing value can be considered randomly missing. Question 20. You plan to provision an Azure Machine Learning Basic Edition workspace for a data science project. You need to identify the tasks you will be able to perform in the workspace. Which three tasks will you be able to perform? Firstly, let's eliminate the incorrect options. We have C. Use the designer to train a model by dragging and dropping predefined models. Designer for drag and drop model building is only available in the standard edition. Then we have E. Use the automated machine learning user interface to train a model. AutoML is not available in the basic edition. As such, the three tasks that we will be able to perform are create a compute instance and use it to run code in Jupyter Notebooks, create an Azure Kubernetes service inference cluster, and create a tabular dataset that supports versioning. Thus, the correct options are A, B, and D. Create compute instances for running Jupyter Notebooks is available in the Basic Edition. AKS inference clusters for model deployment are supported in the Basic Edition. Tabular datasets with versioning can be created in the Basic Edition. Question 21. You plan to deliver a hands-on workshop to several students. The workshop will focus on creating data visualizations using Python. Each student will use a device that has internet access. Student devices are not configured for Python development. Students do not have administrator access to install software on their devices. Azure subscriptions are not available for students. You need to ensure that students can run Python-based data visualization code. Which Azure tool should you use? Firstly, let's eliminate the incorrect options. We have A, Anaconda Data Science Platform. It requires software installation, which students cannot do due to lack of admin access. Then we have B, Azure Batch AI. It is intended for large-scale AI and ML workloads not suitable for a classroom-based data visualization workshop. Then we have D, Azure Machine Learning Service. It requires Azure subscription and is more suited for complex ML workflows, not basic data visualization tasks. As such, the Azure tool that we should use is Azure Notebooks. Thus, the correct option is C. Azure Notebooks is a free, cloud-based platform that allows users to run Python code, including data visualizations, without needing to install anything on their devices. It is accessible via a web browser and does not require administrative permissions or Azure subscriptions. Question 22. You are creating a new experiment in Azure Machine Learning Studio. You have a small dataset that has missing values in many columns. The data does not require the application of predictors for each column. You plan to use the clean missing data. You need to select a data cleaning method. Which method should you use? Firstly, let's eliminate the incorrect options. We have B, normalization. It scales data and is not for missing values. Then we have C, synthetic minority oversampling technique. It is used for class imbalance, not missing values. Then we have D, replace using mice. It is another method for missing values, but PCA is preferred here. As such, the method that we should use is replace using probabilistic PCA. Thus, the correct option is A. Replace using probabilistic PCA. Compared to other options, such as multiple imputation using chained equations, this option has the advantage of not requiring the application of predictors for each column. Instead, it approximates the convariance for the full dataset. Therefore, it might offer better performance for datasets that have missing values in many columns. Question 23. You use Azure Machine Learning Studio to build a machine learning experiment. You need to divide data into two distinct datasets. Which module should you use? Firstly, let's eliminate the incorrect options. We have B, load trained model. It is used to load a pre-trained model, not for dividing data. Then we have C, assign data to clusters. It is used for clustering, not for splitting data. Then we have D, group data into bins. It is used for binning continuous data, not for dividing datasets. As such, the module that we should use is split data. Thus, the correct option is A. The split data module in Azure Machine Learning Studio is used to divide a dataset into distinct subsets, typically for training and testing purposes. Question 24. You are with a time series dataset in Azure Machine Learning Studio. You need to split your dataset into training and testing subsets by using the split data module. Which splitting mode should you use? Firstly, let's eliminate the incorrect options. We have A, recommender split, used for recommender systems, not time series data splitting. Then we have B, regular expression split. It splits data based on matching regular expressions, which is not ideal for time series. Then we have D, split rows with the randomized split parameter set to true. Random splitting is not suitable for time series as it would break the temporal order of the data. As such, the splitting mode that we should use is relative expression split. Thus, the correct option is C, relative expression split. Use this option whenever you want to apply a condition to a number column. The number can be a date/time field, column that contains age or dollar amounts, or even a percentage. For example, you might want to divide your dataset based on the cost of the items, group people by age ranges, or separate data by a calendar date. Question 25. You use Azure Machine Learning to train a model based on a dataset named dataset 1. You define a dataset monitor and create a dataset named dataset 2 that contains new data. You need to compare dataset 1 and dataset 2 by using the Azure Machine Learning SDK for Python. Which method of the data drift detector class should you use? Firstly, let's eliminate the incorrect options. We have A, run. It is typically used to start or trigger the monitoring process, not for comparing datasets. Then we have B, get. It retrieves information about the drift detection or configuration, not for comparing datasets. Then we have D, update. It is used to update the configuration of the data drift detector, not for comparison of datasets. As such, the method that we should use is backfill. Thus, the correct option is C. The backfill method of data drift detector class in Azure Machine Learning is used to compare a new dataset with an existing dataset to detect data drift. This method helps you apply the monitoring and backfill that drift detection on the new data. Question 26. You are profiling data by using Azure Machine Learning Studio. You need to detect columns with odd or missing values. Which statistic should you analyze? Firstly, let's eliminate the incorrect options. We have A, profile. It provides an overview of the dataset but does not specifically detect errors or missing values. Then we have B, standard deviation. It measures the spread of data but does not identify missing or odd values. Then we have D, type. It identifies data types but does not detect errors or missing values. As such, the statistic that we should analyze is error count. Thus, the correct option is C. To detect columns with odd or missing values, you can analyze the error count statistic. The error count metric provides information on the number of missing ordinal values present in each column. By analyzing this metric, you can identify columns that have a high number of missing ordinal values, which may indicate issues with the data quality or the data collection process. Additionally, you can also identify columns with odd or unexpected values that do not fit the data distribution or that have a high number of outliers. Question 27. You are authoring a notebook in Azure Machine Learning Studio. You must install packages from the notebook into the currently running kernel. The installation must be limited to the currently running kernel only. You need to install the packages. Which magic function should you use? Firstly, let's eliminate the incorrect options. We have A, exclamation pip. It's a shell command, installs globally. Then we have C, exclamation conda. It uses conda not for limiting to the current kernel. Then we have D, percentage load. It loads code not for installing packages. As such, the magic function that we should use is B, percentage pip. Thus, the correct option is B. The exclamation pip command installs packages from the notebook into the currently running kernel but does not limit the installation to the currently running kernel only. This means that if you have multiple kernels running in your notebook, exclamation pip will install the package in all of them. Question 28. You use the Azure Machine Learning SDK for Python v1 and notebooks to train a model. You create a compute target, an environment, and a training script by using Python code. You need to prepare information to submit a training run. Which class should you use? Firstly, let's eliminate the incorrect options. We have A, script run. There is no script run class. The correct class for configuring a script run is script run config. Then we have C, run configuration. It is used for configuring environment and compute details, but script run config is more specific for submitting a script-based training run. And then we have D, run. It represents the actual run, but not used for preparing the run configuration. As such, the class that we should use is script run config. Thus, the correct option is B. To submit a training run in Azure Machine Learning using Python code, you will create a script run config object. This class defines the configuration information needed for running a training script on a compute target. The script run config class allows you to specify the compute target, the environment, the training script, and any script arguments for data references needed by the script. Question 29. You have an Azure Machine Learning workspace. You are connecting an Azure Data Lake Storage Gen 2 account to the workspace as a data store. You need to authorize access from the workspace to the Azure Data Lake Storage Gen 2 account. What should you use? Firstly, let's eliminate the incorrect options. We have B, SAS token. It is used for temporary, specific access, not ideal for service to service access. Then we have C, managed identity. It is typically used for virtual machines or app services, not for data store connections. Then we have D, account key. It is less secure than a service principal and grants broad access. As such, we should use service principal. Thus, the correct option is A. The service principal is the recommended method to authenticate and authorize access from Azure Machine Learning to an Azure Data Lake Storage Gen 2 account. It provides secure, controlled access and is typically used for service to service communication. Question 30. You manage an Azure Machine Learning workspace named Workspace 1. You must develop a Python SDK v2 code to attach an Azure Synapse Spark pool as a compute target in Workspace 1. The code must invoke the constructor of the Synapse Spark compute class. You need to invoke the constructor. What should you use? Firstly, let's eliminate the incorrect options. We have a Synapse workspace web URL and Spark pool name. It is not sufficient for the constructor. Resource ID is required for identification. Then we have C, pool URL of the Synapse Spark pool and a system assigned name. Pool URL is not the required identifier. Resource ID should be used. Then we have the Synapse workspace name and workspace web URL. These are not sufficient for attaching a Synapse Spark pool directly. As such, what we should use is resource ID of the Synapse Spark pool and a user-defined name. Thus, the correct option is B. To invoke the constructor of the Synapse Spark Compute class in Azure Machine Learning SDK v2, you need to provide the resource ID of the Synapse Spark pool and a user-defined name. These were all the questions for this video. You can find the complete PDF of this video and our practice questions through the link down in the description. We will be publishing more parts to this series in the future, so please make sure to subscribe our channel and press the bell icon. Thank you for watching and stay tuned.